WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. Sorry, first things first, could everyone just come a bit more forward, just so we're a bit closer, just so anyone else joining can have a bit of space at the back. Keep coming, don't be shy. Great, thank you. First things first, we mentioned the feedback form last week, so massive thank you to everyone that's had a chance to complete that. We've had loads of great responses and positive responses as well, which is fantastic to see. But if you haven't had a chance, please do fill out the form. It's on the WhatsApp group, which you can QR code here. The more responses we get, the better we can deliver the talks moving forward. Just a big announcement coming up for this month in July. So it's Bhai Sahib's Barsi. So Bhai Jagraj Singh Ji, the founder of Basics of Sikhi, Everything's 13. We are celebrating the 6th anniversary of their passing. So we're doing a massive UK tour. There's the vans going on around everywhere. You can see Ilford, Birmingham, Manchester. But particularly for this Gurukar, there's big events happening towards the end of the month. So you can see just there, Thursday, 20th of July, there'll be a Divan here at Havelock. Then there'll be one on the 22nd of July, which will be the main one from 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. That's 13-hour Simran Jap. So really fantastic event for everyone to come, listen to some Simran, listen to some Kirtan, and celebrate Bhai Jagraj Singh's life. And then also, big one for us is the fundraiser. So I mentioned this last time very briefly, but just a bit more information. The Basics of Sikhi team are doing a huge fundraiser on Saturday, the 12th of August. So you can see Seven Sisters looks absolutely beautiful over there. So we will be providing coaches, food, and everything. It's a family walk, family hike. It takes a couple of hours. There's different routes to do, more information to come. But in the first instance, please can you do step one and go onto basicsikhi.com and fill out the registration form. There's a small fee and it'll give you more information about the sign up, more information about the event and a bit more of logistics. The key thing is we're trying to raise a minimum of £100 each. Everything goes back into the charity. So to help us with our Parchar, help us with our talks, help us with our website, help us with our videos, etc., etc. So please do encourage everyone, please, it's a great day. We'll provide transport from Southall, Park Avenue. There'll also be other areas, more information to come. You can drive there yourself. Please pass it on to friends and family. It'll be a great event. We'll have Simran, we'll have food, we'll have a bit of Kirtan. So please, Saturday, 12th of August, put it in your diaries. Kirpa. And then last one, the most important thing, fun fact for Rohanveer Singh. He gives me nothing, so I'm plucking at straws. But the fun fact is, he's actually done a podcast with Basics of Sikhi. So you can go onto Basics Sikhi, Boss TV, and you can listen about all his path, all his journey into Sikhi. It's a fantastic view. So please go into the channel and do have a look. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.
WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. So before we start, if we can just do 5 Mool Mantra de Jap and 5 Gur Mantra. Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Akal Murat Ajuni Saibang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Pi Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirbhau Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Saibang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Pi Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Nirbhau Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Saibang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Pi Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach Ek Oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirbhau Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Saibang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Pi Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach WhyGuru 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 WhyGuru. WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh. So Satsang Ji, we're very blessed to be gathered here today as we continue going through and learning and hopefully implementing the teachings of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji given to us through the part Sri Japji Sahib, which is a discussion between Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji and the Siddhs. So we've now reached the 21st Pauri. Over the last week, Bhai Gurchan Singh went through the 20th Pauri, where Maharaj taught the Siddhs and gave them teachings about the importance of Naam and the effect Naam has on purifying us and helping us join to WhyGuru. And those karams, those actions that we've built up, not just in this life but our previous lives, Naam is the only way of burning those karams, reducing those karams, and helping us join to WhyGuru. So this week the Siddhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, you've told us about the effects of Naam and the effect it has on purifying us and ridding us of those bad karams and helping us in hopefully join to WhyGuru. But what about the other things we do? The other acts we do, like visiting pilgrimage sites, doing charitable acts, suppressing our senses, stopping ourselves from doing bad things. What about those things? Do those help us in joining with WhyGuru? And do they help us in that end goal of getting mukti and being liberated from those 8.4 million life cycles? So like I said, the Siddhs asked Guru Nanak Dev Ji about those acts they do, specifically visiting tirths, visiting sacred rivers and bathing, doing tap, doing penance, hard penance, like we've said in the weeks before, hard meditation where they'd put their body in different awkward positions and they'd put themselves through hard penance because they thought that was the way to join to God. And then what about their compassion? What about the compassionate acts we do? So for example, there's the dharam of Jainis, and what they would do, or still do, is they wear like a mask, sort of like a COVID mask. And the reason they do that is they think they're being compassionate to all beings of creation, and they don't want to absorb any, so like flies or even stuff that we can't see, those microscopic beings of creation. They keep a mask on to make sure that they don't consume any of those. They also walk, and when they're walking, they look down to make sure that the insects that they the insects that they do see, they don't step on anyone, and they're trying to be compassionate to all forms of creation, and they live their life trying to be compassionate and avoid doing any harm to any G's, not G's like English letter G, like beings. So that's how they live their life. And Maharaj responds, and then finally, I wasn't there. And then that is suppression, which essentially means controlling your senses. So the sense of sight, of what we see, what we look at, what we touch, what we feel, what we hear. And then the final one is dan, so donating. And yeah, this is also about donations that we make. We may feed other people, we may do charitable acts. What about these things? And Maharaj responds, Tirat tap daya dat dan je ko pave til ka man. That these acts that you do, even if you do these things, if one does these things, they only gain a small amount of honor. Til means small, and then ka means a, and then man can mean either reward or fal or merit. And Maharaj is saying that even if you do those acts, you're only going to gain a little bit of reward. And you might think, why is that the case? Because these are things that we would normally associate with being good things. And the reason Maharaj says is because you may go to tirths, you may go to these sacred pilgrimages and bathe, but then when you come out and you come back, you're still living in falsehood. You come back and you still commit sin, you still do pap. And then the tap you do is also of no avail, because you're not merging with God, you're not japping Naam, and you're not doing it with the itcha, with the desire to join with WhyGuru. You actually have different desires, which are the reasons why you're doing your tap. And then that compassion, like the Jainis, is that really a compassionate act? So I was talking to Pastor Deep Singh yesterday. When we talk about compassion, we often say it's empathy. Or when we see someone else's pain, we can't bear seeing anyone else in pain, and because of that, we act. Maharaj is saying, you guys are, you don't even know if you're consuming any being. So is it really compassionate act that you're doing, or is it just a ritual? and then datta suppression. So even if you stop yourself from looking at wrong things or touching wrong things or hearing wrong things, what about in your mind? Are you abstaining? Are you staying away from the Panchachora, the 5 vices? Are you thinking about WhyGuru? Are you thinking about positive things like we were speaking about a couple of weeks ago about Satogun and those truthful actions? Are you thinking about truthful qualities, or are you still thinking of bad things? Because even if you've gone to tirthas and you've washed yourselves, but in your mind you're still thinking of bad things, that's why you only gain a small reward. Jeko pave tilka man. So then, on focusing on that 4th one of dan, donation, Maharaj explains, because it's important to realize, why is Maharaj saying that you only get a small amount of reward? So Maharaj talks about in Asadivar 4 different types of donators, 4 different types of danis. And Maharaj says, Satya, Manasantok, Upajaya. So this is the first type of dani. Satya, they are truthful. They do truthful dan as well. So for example, they don't do 100 grand fraud, keep 10 grand, donate 10 grand, keep 90 and say, yeah, main badhiya seva kita, you know, I did really good seva. I kept 90k, but I still done 10,000 pound of langar. I may have done charitable actions. That's not Satya type of dani. The truthful danis are those like Gursikhs. We give our daswand, right? We give daswand as when we're blessed with Amrit. That's a must that we do, and we do it out of our truthful earnings. We don't do it by selling drugs and then this one give more than this one. You got to do Kirtan in an honest way. That's a honest living, huh? So the first type is Satya Manasantok, and then Maharaj says Manasantok Upajaya. Those true danis, the satis, the people who are doing dan out of truth and doing truthful acts, and they speak the truth, onanu santok milda. They gain santok. They gain that shubhagun, that quality of contentment. Then the second type is a dena ka vichar. So these type of danis, you not heard the phrase overthinkers? Everyone's talking about overthinking these days. And these are the types, they just do vichar of giving. Vichar karde are like, oh yeah, I'll give to the 7 sisters hike that basics are doing. But, I was waiting on a promotion actually. When I get that new job and I get a promotion, I get a bit more money, I settle my debts, then I'll donate. I was like, no, you know what, I wanted to buy that new car. Harkirat Singh bought a new car. I want to get a bit of a nicer car actually. So when I get a new car and I've got a couple of things in order, then then I'll donate. But what they do is vichar karde, they don't do anything. They just think about it. Vichar karde, they think about all the different types of dan they're going to do, the different donations they're going to do. But in the end, they don't do anything. So that's the second type. And the third type are de mangaha sahasa guna. So where have we read or seen the word sahasa before in Japji Sahib? Sahasa Syanapa Lakhoe. So there Maharaj is saying that there's hundreds, thousands of clevernesses or tricks that people do. Here, what it means is de mangaha sahasa guna. That they do give, they donate. These type of danis, they do donate, but they give a little bit, but mangaha sahasa guna. They ask for 100,000 times in return. So for example, if anyone's played Monopoly here, I was hoping Daman would be here because he's very good Monopoly player. In fact, he actually deals with real money when he's doing Monopoly deals. Not even a lie, he does. So these people, so anyone who's played Monopoly, if I've got the dark browns, which are the worst set on the Monopoly game, they're not really worth much, and Paisa Deep Singh's got the dark blues, Mayfair and Park Lane, and I say, Chalo, let's do a straight swap. I'll give you my 2 dark browns, you give me your 2 dark blues. I mean, hoping he's business astute, he'd say, forget that, that's a rubbish deal. You're giving me a little bit, and in return, you're going to get loads. You're going to get the 2 most expensive properties on the game. But that's what we do with Maharaj, and that's what the Siddhs do as well. They give a little bit, but they've got desire in their mind. They want so much back in return, whether that's honor, whether that's fame, whether it's high status and high power, or like being a king. They give a little bit, but mangaha sasaguna, they want so much in return. And that might be us as well. So when we do in a Khandpat, or maybe we call the parties, and parties do they do however many roles as they do to do our Khandpat. But then when we when we ask for the ardas at the Pog, we say, Gyani ji, I want a new job, or I've got 2 off licenses, I want to buy another 4. ਜਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਟਰੱਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, we got trucks, ਆਪ ਸਾਡਾ ਟਰੱਕ ਦਾ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਕੋਈ ਬਿਜ਼ਨਸਮੈਨ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ. But we give the Gyani £5 and say do £5 ardas, but we want so much in return. Or even Patti Seva, when it comes to then giving them their peta, masapa B pound karde, we just about maybe give them £20 each. But if, like in my family, you're going to do a party, or you're going to do, obviously in market we don't do parties now, but party you're going to do hall, and you're going to buy so much, whatever they buy, they spend 100,000. You don't know, you've seen all the clips that people do now. People spend 100,000 on a wedding. But when it comes to doing satkar of Gyanis and parties, we've just about take out 20 kids. So same point, that give a little bit, but we want so much in return. Because in return we're saying, do our ardas that we get, so much. Then the final type are sob kare sansar. So sob comes from the word soba, which means honor or fame. So the 4th type of dani is the final type, that they do dan, they give donations, but they do it so that they get honor or fame in return. And these are like real stories. You might hear like people do ardas, or they'll get the Gyani to read their ardas, and they'll say Falana Parvar gave £500 or £5,000 for the new building. But if they forgot to say the family's name, it's like, Tumara nani kya? You didn't say my name. Because they want people to know, okay, main ditta si. So that's the 4th type and the final type. And the reason this is important in explaining this pauri and the first 2 panktiya is because this is the reason why Maharaj says, Je ko pave til ka maan, because like those 3 other types, apart from the first one, they're giving with they're giving with a desire that they get something in return. And the same with, it's not just dan. Maharaj is telling the Sikhs that the reason you're going to get Tilka Man, a little bit of reward, is because all of those things you do, whether it's bathing at pilgrimages, doing tapasya, doing compassionate acts, suppressing your senses, and then finally done, you're doing it with desire. You're doing it because you want something in return. You're not doing it because you want to join with WhyGuru, and you're not jumping down because you want to be liberated from the 8.4 million life cycles. You're doing it with desire. And then another arth you can do of til ka maan. Here we've got til and ka separated, but if you do til ka, say it together, like in simple Punjabi, if you say, oh til ka gya si, that means he slipped away, right? So then it will mean, if one does those actions, the reward that they'll still gain reward, a small reward, but that reward will slip away. Or til ka janda is temporary, it's not permanent. And there's a Sakhi that shows that. So there was a king called Akbar, he was a king. An astrologer came to visit him. And he asked the astrologer, he said, what virtuous act, what did I do in my previous life that in this life I've gained such an elevated, lofty position of being king? And I have such a vast kingdom that I rule over the world. And the astrologer said to him that in your previous life you was a farmer, and you had 2 tools that you used for your farming, a small grass cutter and a small net. And what you did was you donated this to a priest. You donated this to a poor priest, and that is why in this life you're now a king and you have this kingdom. So then Akbar thought, hang on, these things that you said, they're quite minor in relative terms. It's just a small grass cutter and a small net, and you're saying by donating this, I've got this Raj that I've obtained now, I've got this kingdom that I've got now. And the astrologer said, well, the reason was because the time when you did it and where you did it, you did the donation at a tirath, at a pilgrimage site, when it was a solar eclipse. And because you did it then and there was a large festival and you made your donations then in Kurukshetra, that's why you've got this Raj that you've got now. And he was still unsure. He's like, but then how? What did I do to get this Raj I've got in this life? And he said, you saw that people were donating all of their belongings. And you asked a Brahman, you asked, why are people giving away all their possessions? What's going on here? And the Brahman said that because it's a solar eclipse, people are giving their belongings, and it is said that whoever gives their belongings at this pilgrimage, at this time, during this auspicious occasion, whoever gives all their belongings in their next life, they'll either become a ruler or become a king. So that's what he did. He saw, and for him, that's a good little deal, right? He's only got two possessions to his name anyway. So he saw the priest who had a cow, and he offered his small grass cutter and his small net to the priest, and the priest took it and he used it to feed his cow. And then as a result, in this life now, the astrologer answered his question. This is why you got the Raj you've got now. This is why you've got this kingdom. And then on the face of it, because I was a bit confused when I heard this, Aki, I was like, hang on. If we're saying you get a small amount of reward, he's become king. That's not a small reward. That's a pretty decent result. You get people like sing over there doing puja of you and going to all your events. But the reason is because Maharaj is saying, Jeko pave tilka man, that reward you get from doing those things, or tilka janda, is still, he may be king now in this life, but that kingdom is eventually going to finish. And then again, you're left with nothing. So that merit, that fall, that reward you got, eventually is going to diminish anyway. And then in your next life, you're left with nothing. That's why it's a small reward. And that's why it's important to know those different types of danis. Because like King Akbar, he did that donation, but he did it with desire. The Gurus say us, we should be completing those acts. We should be doing dan. We should be, doing compassionate act, but we should be doing it nishkam, without any desire. That's the difference. So the Siddhs ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, if you're not diminishing, but if you're saying those things aren't going to bring us to God, or those things aren't the way to liberation, what is the best way then to join with WhyGuru and be liberated from the 8.4 million life cycles? What should we do? And Maharaj responds, Sunya manya man kita pao. So this is a common theme again that we're hearing in Sri Japji Sahib. We've heard earlier, Gavya, Sunya, Manarakhya, Pao. We've had the 4 Paudia on listening, and then Manne Ki Gat, and the other 3 Paudia that come afterwards. It's a common theme, and we have to think to ourselves, why is Maharaj saying this again? Sunya, Manne, Man Kita, Pao. Because that's how important it is in our journey. This is the highest way to gain liberation. This is our spiritual journey. These are the steps we must take. We first must listen, then we must accept, and then man kita pao. And then once we've accepted and we've believed those teachings, we begin to practice and we obtain pao. Pao meaning divine knowledge, or you can say Brahmgyan. That is why it's so important. And then an analogy I heard in a Gatha is that why is listening so important? Because listening has come first here as well, is because listening is the first stage. And sometimes we might feel really far from WhyGuru. We might feel that we can't see WhyGuru, we can't hear WhyGuru. But by japping Naam and by trying to listen to Kirtan Katha, that is the way, that is the first stage of gaining liberation and making these steps of first listening, then accepting, and then practicing it to obtain Brahmgyan, to get liberation. And the Maharaj continues, Antargata Tiratha Malanao. So again, Maharaj is saying the pilgrimage that we need to do, the pilgrimage we need to find, is the pilgrimage inside of us. So there's a point, but to the Siddh they're saying, yeah, you go to your pilgrimage sites and you bathe your outer body, but like we were saying before, inside you're still thinking of sin, or you're still committing sin when you come back. So what we need to do is, we need to jap Naam. That's our Tirath. We need to do as much Bani Abhyas as we can, practice listening to Kirtan Katha, increasing our Nitnem. And then, like Bhai Gurchan Singh went through in last week's Pauri, then Maharaj says, Oho topa nava ke rang. Yeah? That is the way, Pariya Mata Papa ka sang Oho topa nava ke rang. That the polluted mind we have, the sins that we have, the karams that we've collected, the way of washing ourselves of those sins is by washing ourselves inside. We're going inside that pilgrimage, inside of us, japping Naam, and then that is the way to scrub away the dirt and scrub away those sins, be washed of those sins. It's not just physically going to tirths and bathing at those sacred rivers. But then you might think, why is Parchar saying on the BOS TV going on 2 yatre to India and bathing at all these sacred rivers, which hopefully Karamveer will edit and publish at some point? Is that then diminishing? Is Maharaj saying that we shouldn't visit pilgrimages? Are they? No? Well, Maharaj is not. So I saw a post yesterday by Sikhism in Snippets. Luckily, this katha that, or talk I've prepared, Maharaj just gives the information. Even the 4 Danis, I just found out on YouTube. Yesterday, scrolling Instagram, Sikhism in Snippets, he posted a passage from Mahakavi Pai Santokh Singh Ji, and we'll post it in the community chat, just in case I miss anything. But the caption was, why do Sikhs visit pilgrimages? Do we visit pilgrimages? Are pilgrimages important to us? And the answer is yes. Pilgrimages and bathing at these sacred rivers, they do cleanse us of our sin, but not all of our sin. It's not a loophole. It's not a quick win or a little Sikhi loophole trick that I can do as much pap as I want, then visit a pilgrimage, go Sri Harmandir Sahib, bathe, and then I'm sorted. Because what it says in that passage is that yes, some of your sins are taken away, but then those sins go in the river. And then what happens is, the sacred river, it relies, so like let's use Sri Harmandir Sahib and the Sarovar for an example, it relies on the Bani that's being recited in the Darbar Sahib to then rejuvenate that Sarovar again. And it relies on the dust of the feet of the saints to also rejuvenate the Sarovar and give it its Shakti, so that people can go again and cleanse their sins. So yes, we do go to Tirths. This isn't diminishing the importance of Tirths and going to Sarovars and doing Ishnan, but what it is saying is that to cleanse ourselves of our sins and our pap, we also have to go on the Tirth, the pilgrimage inside of us. Then the Siddhs ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji, they say, in our Dharam, the people we know, when they visit pilgrimages and they bathe there at these sacred rivers, they come back and they get a bit hankari, they get a bit egotistical, and they think, I bathed at insert place and you haven't, so I'm higher than you, I'm better than you. And they ask Maharaj, is this the same then in your case with Gursikhs? Do the Gursikhs that have realized the way to the Lord, do they get egotistical? The people who have got this soji, they realize that the pilgrimage they need to go on is inside their body, and by reciting Naam, do they get egotistical? And Maharaj responds, Sab guna tere main nahi koe. That the Gursikh, the true Gursikh, they get that soji, they get that understanding. They look at the world with the lens that Maharaj, all virtues, all gun are yours, main nahi koe. There are no gun within me. And that can be a hard thing to contemplate in the Western world, because we're saying, you don't put yourself down, but it doesn't mean you put yourself down, but it's you saying, and you'll realize when you step on this marg of Sikhi, like, I was a Monna before, and when you start maybe keeping your hair, or Maharaj Kirpa, maybe you change some of your adata, some of your habits, people say, oh, bahut changa gun. Not many people say, like Simran couldn't even think of a gun for me in her talk that day, she went blank. So, but people might say, oh, he's got this quality, he's got that quality, but the Gursikh will say, nahi, Maharaj Kirpa, Maharaj de guna. It's not me, I've got no gun. So that's what Maharaj's response was to the Siddhs, that those Gursikhs, they have the lens that Maharaj nahi, sab guna tere main nahi koi, I have no gun. Anything good about me is because of you and your kirpa, your blessings. And then Maharaj goes on to say, Vena guna kite bhagata na hoye. That those Gursikhs, they have that understanding, again, they have that soji, that Maharaj, without singing your praises, without your virtues, one cannot become a bhagat, a devotee, and one cannot meditate either. You can't do bhagati. So, essentially saying that the Gursikh realizes, because we might think one day, I'm going to read X amount of part, or I'm going to wake up Amrita Villa every day, or I'm going to make these changes in my life, or I'm going to be blessed with Amrit. But the Gursikh realizes, okay, Maharaj, without your blessings, I can't do anything. I can't do bhagati. I can't become a bhagat. I can't become a devotee It's only with your kirpa, with your blessings, that I can do anything and that I can walk on this marg, I can walk on this path of Sikhi, which isn't easy. So how does that relate to us? So we might come to the Gurdwara, we might come to the Japji Sahib course, we might go to different events, we might try the 4 to 5 a.m. Simran at Park Avenue downstairs every day, we might come there, but we might think, why has my life not changed? Why have I not changed my ways or implemented certain things that I thought I would? But maybe we're coming here and we're talking to others, or like we went through in my talk, I forgot when, about the goal of listening. Maybe we're not listening to the teachings, we're hearing them, but we're not listening to them and then acting on them. Maybe we're not following that spiritual journey we spoke about. But then it's also because maybe we haven't got those blessings that Maharaj is talking about. That without Maharaj's virtues, without singing with their praises, without their kirpa, we can't do anything, we can't walk on this path. The Siddhs then change the topic a little bit, and they ask Maharaj about creation, and ask Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And Maharaj responds, Swasta Artha Bani Baramao. So Swasta is a way of describing WhyGuru and their quality of liberating us. Kalyan Sarupa would say in Punjabi, Maharaj Kalyan Sarupa, that's what Swast means, that Maharaj can liberate us. And then Art Bani Baramao, that Maharaj is describing the way the world was created, so that WhyGuru recited Oankar and the creation was created. So Art means is, and then Bani means holy word, which we know is Oankar, and then to utter. They uttered that, and that's how the world was created. And we've got this Pangati, Oankar Utpati Kiya Dinasa Sabarati, that through reciting Oankar, which was the first thing WhyGuru recited, and the creation was created in an instant, which is also why we hear at the start of Sri Japji Sahib, Ek Oankar, which is describing how Maharaj created the creation and created it, like we said, in an instant. The Siddhs then ask Maharaj, so like when a mother and father give birth to their child, the mother gives birth, and the child is born, the mother and father, their form changes. They get older and their form changes. But what about the Creator? What about WhyGuru, Karta Purakh? What about the Creator? Does their form ever change? And Maharaj responds, Sat Sohan Sada Manchao. So Maharaj is saying, no. WhyGuru, the Creator, is Sat. They are truth. They are always the truth. They are Sohan. Sohan comes from the word Sobanik, which means elegant or beautiful. So Maharaj is truthful. They are always truthful. They are beautiful or elegant, and then Sada Manchao. So Sada means forever, and then Manchao means in bliss. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that WhyGuru's form doesn't change. They are Ananda Sarupa. They are forever in bliss, and they are Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Pi Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. They are always truthful. The Siddhs then want to know more specifics about creation. Specifically, when was creation created? When did God create everything? What was the time? What was the day? What was the date? And first, I know there's a lot of words here, so just try to follow with me. So we'll first split it into Kavana, so Vela, Vakta Kavana. So why do you think Maharaj is used? So if you look, Vela and Vakata both mean time. Why do you think Maharaj used two words that both mean the same thing? हाँ जी ठीक है नहीं अभी हो सकता any other guesses? So Maharaj responds in this way because at this time there were two main dharms or religions. So you had the Siddhs and the Hindu dharms, and you had the Muslim dharm, right? So Vela is a terminology that the Hindus would use. So Maharaj is answering in a way that everyone can understand. So Maharaj is saying when or what was the time, what was the Vela according to the Hindu scriptures, and what was the Vakata according to the Muslim scriptures. When was it? And then Maharaj says Kavana Theta Kavanvar. So Theta can mean either date like first, second, third, whatever, or it can mean lunar day as well. But here we'll just stick to date. So the Siddhs were asking what was the date? And then Kavanvar, Var means day. So like you've got Somvar, Mangalvar. Everyone knows Mangalvar and Virvar, yeah? Yeah, you know what I'm on about. So there's only 2 days I knew in Punjabi. So yeah, so this is asking what was the date, what was the time, what was the Var, what was the day. And also, Kavana Seroti Maho Kavana Jeta Hoa Akar. So Jeta Hoa Akar. This is, all of these things are related to this part. Jeta Hoa Akar, when was creation created? Then what was the Ruti? What was the season? So we've got 4 seasons. In Gurbani there are 6 seasons, just FYI. And then Maho means month. So they're asking what was the season, what was the month when creation was created? And Maharaj gives the response. So first Maharaj says, Vela na paya panditi. That the Pandits from the Hindu scriptures, they don't know when creation was created. And you might think, how can we say that? How can we guarantee that? What's our evidence? Because Maharaj says, Jehovah Lekh Puran. Maharaj is saying, if they knew, they would have written it in the Quran. They would have written it maybe in their other scriptures, the Shastras and the Simritiya. But they've not written it in there. So that's why they don't know. No one knows. And then what about for the Muslim Tarn? What was the response for them? Maharaj says, Vakata na payo kadiya. So you see what was on about here. Now they've used Vakata so that the Muslims could understand. Maharaj says, the Qadiya, the Qazis, the Muslim scholars, they don't know when creation was created either. And then again you may say, what's your evidence? How does Maharaj know that? Because Maharaj says, Je likhana lekh Quran. So likhan means to write or written, and then lekh means scripture or granth, or scripture or granth, and then Quran, the Quran. But then this is extended further as well. Maharaj is saying that let's go with the Muslims first. Maharaj is saying if the Muslim scholars knew, if the Qazis knew, they would have written scriptures or essays, dissertations in the Quran or the other scriptures, but they haven't. So they don't know when creation was created either. So in this time, Maharaj used these examples of Vela and Vakata, Qazis and Pandits, but it extends further as well to say you can look at the Bible, the Torah, other religious scriptures. They don't know when creation was created either. And Maharaj continues, Theta var na jogi jana. So we'll start with that part first. Maharaj says, again we said Theta means date, var means day, and then na jogi jane. That the date or the day, the jogis, we're talking to the Siddhs again, the jogis that you respect, like Gorakhnath and these other jogis, they don't know when creation was created either. They don't know the Rut, they don't know the season, they don't know the month, Maho, Nakoe. No jogis, no one knows when creation was created. Then the Siddhs ask, but someone must know. You're saying to us that our Hindu scholars don't know, the Muslim scholars don't know, but someone must know. And Maharaj responds, Ja karta sirthi ko saje. So first, which again we'll split it there, Maharaj is saying, Karta refers to the creator, like Karta Purkh. Sirthi means Srishti, creation or universe, and then Ko Saje. So only the creator knows when creation was created. Only they know. Ape jana soi. Only they alone. Hor nahi koi janda. No one else knows when creation was created. And here we see as well Guru Nanak Dev Ji's humility as well, because they were the form of Akal Purkh WhyGuru on this earth. But they're saying, they obviously knew, but they're saying no, only WhyGuru, only the creator, they know when creation was created. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Okay, that's all right. So the Siddhs then ask, you talk about hukum. You talk about how God is the giver, the organizer, and destroyer or deliverer of creation back to life itself. But how does he do that? How does he do that? They ask that question. And Maharaj says, we'll start first with Kev Kar Akha Kev Salahi. Maharaj is saying to the Siddhs, how can I tell you? How can I praise WhyGuru in the way that they create the creation? Kyo Varni Ke Vijana. So Varni means Varnan, to describe or explain or tell. Ke Vijana, how will I know? How do I know, or to even begin to describe, telling how the Creator creates the creation? Maharaj continues and says, Nanak Akhan Sabko Akha. So whenever Nanak is written in part, we don't just say Nanak says, we say Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states. Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that, so Akhan means to say, that everyone thinks they know. Everyone thinks they can tell you how the Creator created creation. And then ikdu ik syana. So what this means is ikdu ik. So one after the other, someone comes forward trying to be the clever one, trying to be the person who says, I can explain how creation was created. So for example, you know, like if you're in the car with your family and someone says, what's the best way? The driver says, what's the best way you reckon to get to Hounslow? And you say, no, you know what, take that roundabout, go this way, or Badia. And then the younger one who doesn't even drive will say, no, you don't do that, you go this way, then take a right, take a left, go through Hayes bypass, you'll get to Hounslow in 5 minutes. Or in another example, you know, in football, or we've got the Ashes going on now, if someone says, what went wrong with England today? Or what's going wrong with Manchester United? Bubbins here, that's a fun one. What's going wrong with Manchester United since Alex Ferguson left? And then one person was saying, yeah, you know, it's the Glazers or Nane Gandapaya in our club, they're ruining everything. Another person will say, no, Fred, the midfielder, he's rubbish, it's because of him. They'll blame another person. And one after the other, you get Gary Neville, you get this person, that person. Ikadu Ikasyana. Someone is trying to be the clever one and say, no, I'll tell you how it's done. And in this way, Maharaj is saying, Ikadu Ikasyana. One after the other, someone is trying to be the clever one and say, nay, listen to me, this is how the world was created. But in reality, no one knows how creation was created apart from WhyGuru. And why is that the case then? Why can't anyone speak about or tell you how the creation was created? And Maharaj says, Vadda Sahib, Vaddi Nai. So WhyGuru, God, He is great. Vaddi Nai. Nai means praise or mehma or greatness. That WhyGuru is great, and His name, He is also great. His praise is great. He's known everywhere. Everyone knows who God is. Even if you ask an atheist about God, no one's going to say, who's that God? I don't know. What's God? Everyone knows what God is. Everyone knows who God is. Kita ja ka hove. So kita means, or kita si, done. Ja ka hove. That whatever WhyGuru Ji does, whatever they do, that is what happens. And the Creator, whatever they do, that is what happens. Kita ja ka hove. And then Maharaj ends with Nanak je ko apo jana aga gya na soha. So soha comes again from the word soba, which means honor, or honor. And Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji states, this is important, that Maharaj is saying that if one thinks that they can explain how creation was created, or they think they can explain the greatness of WhyGuru, in the next world, they will not gain honor. And in this world as well, in the court of WhyGuru, in the court of the Lord, they do not gain honor. Those people who think they can tell or be the Syana, be the clever one who explains how creation was created and the greatness of the Creator. They don't gain honor. So just a Sakhi to end on. So we spoke on that in the first Pangati, explaining or discussing compassion and what is true compassion. And I said that what the Jaini Dharam were doing of trying to make sure they don't consume microscopic beings or step on insects and ants, I said is that really a truly compassionate act? But the Sakhi of Paitaru Singh that I'm about to share now, that is what real compassion is in my eyes, and what we should aspire to as Gursikhs, seeing the dukh, seeing the pain of others, and not being able to not being able to deal with it. Sorry, I got distracted. Not being able to deal with it, feeling that pain. So Bhai Taru Singh, when they were arrested and they were in jail, a number of Gursikhs came to meet Bhai Taru Singh. It took them a week to get to Bhai Taru Singh, and they hadn't eaten in that time. And they thought, you know what, they've bought this food, and they thought they will sit with Bhai Taru Singh and they'll eat their meal with them, because they hadn't eaten in a long time either. When the Gursikhs gave the food and they prepared to eat, Bhai Taru Singh told the Gursikhs about what's happening outside the prison. They said princesses from different dharms are being abducted. Their honor is being abused. And these Sudme, these warriors, these worldly kings who think they're so great, they're not even doing anything to protect them. There and then the Gursikhs left their food and they said to Bhai Taru Singh, they said, we'll go and save them. If we survive, if this khana, if this food is in our lekha, is in our destiny, when we saved those princesses and we come back, then we'll eat with you. If we come back, then we'll eat with you. And that's exactly what they did. They left Bhai Taru Singh at that moment. They went to collect those princesses, save them from the abductees, and they came back and they had that langar with Bhai Taru Singh. So what's the point of that Sakhi? Maharaj is another example that that yeah, in that instant the Siddhs might be getting a small amount of reward, but that's because they were doing those acts with desire. But Bhai Taru Singh, those Gursikhs, they had no desire in their mind. When they showed compassionate acts, when they went maybe to pilgrimages as Gursikhs, we have to go without any desire. And true compassion is like the Gursikhs there. Because you can even look at it, it's not even Bibia from their Dharam. It was Bibia from different Dharam. Not that that should matter. As a Gursikh, obviously that doesn't matter. But just to emphasize that they felt that much pain, and the Bibia were from different Dharam. So that's a teaching for us as well. What is true compassion? And hopefully that Sakhi shows it. So just to recap, we've gone through what brings us closer to God. So the Siddhs asked about the different acts that they do, and Maharaj says nothing's bigger than Naam, Sunaya, Mannaya, Mankita, Pau, and reciting the name of the Lord, repetition of the name of WhyGuru. That is what's going to get us mukti, grant us liberation. What type of charity are we doing? So we went through the 4 different types of danis, donators, and that true dan, satya sandok upaja, dana ka vichar, that the true danis, the true donators are those that donate without desire, and through that they gain contentment. When was creation created? So the Siddhs asked those various questions, the time, the date, the month, the season, and Maharaj says only the Creator knows when creation was created. No one else knows. And then finally, how do we gain honor in the court of God, in the court of WhyGuru? So in not just in the next world, but now when we see Sri Guru Nanak, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and we're in Maharaj's Darbar, thinking that we know it all and coming from that place there that we know everything, we won't gain honor in this life either. And in the next life, like was written in the Pankti, you don't gain honor in the Parlok, in the next world either. So Vichara Karde, I've made many mistakes. Please forgive me. I'm your brother, I'm your whatever son. I've made many mistakes, please forgive me. Deho sajan asisriya jo hova Sahib se mel. WhyGuru Ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji ki Fateh. Any questions Ji related either to the Pauri or anything even? ठीक है जी, ठीक है। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह।
WhyGuru, thank you to Rovi Singh for the talk. Just a disclaimer, I didn't go to India and bathe in rivers. It was a sarovars, just to make that clear, because VG said rivers. I think you just misused the word, so you're going to see no vlogs of me in a river. I'll probably get swept away, right? It was a sarovar, right? And that's what I went to do. Just make sure that's on camera, because
He's probably get some messages on YouTube comments saying that Sukhdeep Singh is going to rivers in India and doing some like backstrokes and stuff like that, right? So thank you so much. That was a great talk, bro. A lot of great things you can take away from, a lot of good analogies as well. It's a shame, man. You guys don't ask questions, man. Like, there's so many of us here, so man. Please, in future, think of questions and ask. It gets a good conversation going as well. Like we said earlier, we have the hike. Please do try and come to the hike as well. Support the series that we're doing. What you're seeing right now, all these speakers, Guru Kirpa, it's just the start of many more to come in the future. Especially when the Japji Sahib course finishes near the end of the year. Then hopefully next year in January again we'll start a new course. It's still to be confirmed, but Guru Kirpa should be really good. The next one. As well, and hopefully we'll have the same speakers but new speakers as well, so more people coming forward. So please do help out, and there'll be a stall downstairs, so please do go sign up for the hike as well and support the seva. Hanji WhyGuru. Age range, there is no age range, so anybody's welcome. So we're trying to find the route. There's also pram friendly, so as in if you want to bring your little ones, like Manmohan Singh in the back, holding his little one as well. So then so families can come. So it's the walk simply is it's a walk with very nice views. It'll be quite a few hours of walking, but also a stop off. We have some Kirtan at one point, and also we have a few talks. So by Mana Singh Ji, we're coming. By Baljit Singh, hopefully we're coming. By Harman Singh from Canada, we're coming as always in America actually. But we have a lot of different speakers there on the day. It's not going to say this can be like you're sitting out for 2 hours outside, but it won't just be a walk. There'll be more activities going alongside it as well. Hope to have a campfire. And someone said that, you know, campfire in the summer might not work, but yesterday was cold. Right? It was coldish yesterday. It's a bit grey. So I wouldn't mind having a campfire on a grey day. Hope it's not grey, but there might be a grey spell because of the campfire then, right? So everybody's welcome to the hike as well. Take your Hanji. I think so. I don't think there's an issue. Is there an issue with pets? No? Bring your pets, yeah? Dogs, yeah, cats, lions, maybe you want to bring, right? Elephant, yeah? Maybe a horse, that'll be sick, right? Whatever animals you want to bring, you bring them. Tika? Hanji, and everyone else? You've got humans at all age ranges, you've got animals, right? Anyone want to bring anything else? Right? Tika ji, that's fine. And like was mentioned earlier by Manmohan Singh, Parchar Singh Ji's Barsi, they passed away 6 years ago. And every single year we remember them, we celebrate their life, their achievements, what they've left us with today. This is what they started. If you watch the videos online, you realize that actually where we're sitting right now, sometimes we sit against that Lamadi there, have their back against it, or that wall there, I mean where the fencing is, and they'll just be doing Q&As for hours, right? Literally from 7 o'clock to 9:30, 10 p.m., where the people will come up and say, we want to go to sleep. This is a bedroom for some of the more mature group as well, right? So do you know what I mean? So there's so many memories in this Guru card, mainly downstairs in the Darbar, but also here we would ask Q&As, and you know, so much magic, so much blessings took place in this Gurdwara Sahib. So on those days, just please come and let's just celebrate their life, right? Celebrate, let's remember them and be thankful to Guru Sahib. They sent such a great Guru Sikh, and may they continue sending more great Guru Sikhs. So we'll have the program on the Thursday. July the 20th is the day that they passed. So we'll have a program at Havelock, and then here on the Saturday is 13 hours of WhyGuru Simran, right? Now I don't know about you, but doing 1 hour WhyGuru Simran is really hard, right? But maybe let's try and set a target. Let's try and turn up on the day, be in the Gurdwara for 13 hours, and let's see how long we can sit. You know, maybe be a bit crazy and say, I want to sit for 13 hours, right? See how long you lost, right? You never know. You might be there for 6-7 hours and think, okay, I'm halfway through now. Might as well go to 13, right? And then see what your knees look like afterwards, or how they feel, right? So that's on the Saturday. Then Sunday is the final program, which is the Porg. So a City Saj part Porg as well. Recitation of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the end part, the last few Shabads. So we'll do that. We'll have a lot of speakers here on the day. We have 3 North American speakers coming by Harman Singh, by Simranjit Singh, and by Supreet Singh from North America flying in. We've got Bibi Gurpreet Kaur coming from Malaysia as well for that. There's all the Japji Sahib speakers. We've got speakers from across the country coming as well by Mandeep Singh, by Amandeep Singh. So all the speakers are coming to that event, and hopefully all those speakers will be saying a few words on the day as well. So it'll be a big event. And then we have the Bhog, we have some Kirtan as well. I think maybe, hopefully, Kirtan is confirmed. I don't know if I'm sure they are. And then by Harjeevan Singh and a few other Jathas as well will be confirmed. So it's a big program. Let's please come for it, stay for the Ardas, and then Hanji WhyGuru. Hanji, this Southall program. They do programs around as well, but they'll all be on that Sunday, the 23rd of July in the evening, from 5:30 to about 8:30, 9:30. So you got a proper religious weekend there, right? Super weekend, Saturday, Sunday of like bare part, bare kirpa, right? And by the end of it, we'll be floating out of the Godra Sahib, yeah, right? Theek hai ji. Okie dokie. I think that's all the announcements. I will finish off with 5 minutes of Simran. So if I can do Bindi to Simran, if you could do some Simran, unless somebody else wants to do Kirtan, but don't think so. If you don't mind, please, can you do some, just 5 minutes, a bit of Simran, a bit of Kirtan, and then we'll do Ardas, Hukunam Sahib, Sukha Sindhi Seva, and then we'll walk with Guru Sahib to Sachkhand. Theek hai ji. Thank you so much, guys. WhyGuru ji ka Khalsa, WhyGuru ji ki Fateh. Please stay for 5 minutes at least. Thank you.
WhyGuru, 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 ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਸਲੋਕ ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਬਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ ਮਾਤਾ ਧਰਤ ਮਹਤ ਦਿਵਸ ਰਾਤ ਦੁਇ ਦਾਈ ਦਾਇਆ ਖੇਲਾ ਸਗਲ ਜਗਤ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਬੁਰਿਆਈਆਂ ਵਾਚੈ ਧਰਮ ਹਦੂਰ ਕਰਮੀ ਆਪੋ ਆਪਣੀ ਕੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਕੇ ਦੂਰ ਜਿਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਇਆ ਗਏ ਮਸਕਤ ਕਾਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਜਲੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਛੁਟੀ ਜਿਨੀ ਨਾਮ ਧਿਆਇਆ ਗਏ ਮਸਕਤ ਕਾਲ ਨਾਨਕ ਤੇ ਮੁਖ ਉਜਲੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਛੁਟੀ ਨਾ